My name is Jakub Polaczyk, and I'm Vice President of New York Arts and Dance Innovations and the Artistic Director of the Chopin and Friends Festival. And I have a pleasure and honor to invite wonderful artists based in Chicago, Yuge Zhou, who will actually, on the opening gala, November 6th, will come. And she will also tell a little bit about her installation that we're going to have at the really beginning of entire festival, Underground Circuit, which is, you're going to see, it's based on the subway of New York. And this year, the theme of the Chopin and Friends Festival, it's isolation and connectivity. And I think it was wonderful. I'm always very inspired because I'm a composer. I'm always very inspired with this kind of urban art. So this installation grabs my attention. It's beautiful. I hope you will enjoy it. And today, Yuge is with us. And I just want to tell you that she recently graduated a few years ago from the institute in Chicago, but she also studied at the Syracuse in New York. And she often comes to New York because she has here a residency and exhibition. So hello, Yuge. So nice to see you. Hello.
It's nice to see you too. Thank you for inviting me to be here.
It's my pleasure. Congratulations for your works. It's amazing. So yes, maybe when we start, I would like to ask you first thing, how did you spend, because we have quarantine talk, so how did you spend this last half year? How have you been? How was Chicago? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, actually, I think, when during the beginning of the quarantine, everything was in isolation, and I was, as little in shock. I was in shock as everyone else. But obviously this year has been pretty depressing for most of us. But in Chinese, the word crisis also means opportunity. So I was trying to stay positive and also making work that's respond to current time, but at the same time, trying to adjust myself into this kind of isolated, but also productive mode. And it's been getting better and better, and I've been producing more and more work with other collaborators in quarantine. So it's surprisingly has been one of the most fruitful time of my artistic career. So I'm pretty happy about it.
That's great.
Yes, Chicago is, situation has been up and down, and we've been, we did pretty well for the past few months, but recently I know there's been an increase in cases, but we have a great mayor and our governor's pretty good. So I think since under control, and I'm in my studio a lot of times, and I've been pretty responsible. So yeah, life goes on. So I'm trying to stay positive.
So you stay most of the time at home, but I want to ask you also, because about your exhibitions, were they postponed or many cancellations? Did you get many cancellations of your?
Yes, I think most of my exhibitions have been postponed, especially the ones that takes place in physical spaces. I have a few exhibitions that's actually coming up. One in San Antonio, which will be opened actually on the same day of your screening, November 6th. That one, for that project, for that installation, is like a large scale projection mapping onto the relief sculpture in the gallery space. And I will also have 4 videos being projected in the gallery space. So that's actually gonna be my first physical exhibition since the quarantine started in March. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I had a couple exhibitions abroad, one in Linz, Austria, which is the Ars Electronica exhibition. That happened in October. Actually in September.
2 months ago.
Yeah, a few months ago. And also a couple other exhibitions coming up in South Korea and other places in the world. I obviously can't travel to see it, but it's pretty wonderful that I have projects showing at different locations in the world right now.
And that's great because also I think you got an award for this in Linz, right? In Austria.
Yes.
So can you tell us about this?
Yeah, so I it's a festival. It's a new media and art festival, and it happens annually every year. And I think it's one of the largest international media and art festival in the world. And for this year, I received the honorary mention for
Congratulations.
for the festival. And I was pretty excited about it. And the piece got selected was Underground Circuit, so the one that I'm gonna show at the festival. But they actually did the installation version in their art center in Linz, Austria. And I was not able to be there, but I saw some photos that they sent to me, and it looks amazing. It's like really immersive, a huge space they have, and they did a great job for the setup of the installation, because for my installation, most of the it needs to be really precise, and I was a little worried that because I could not be there, if they could do a good job installing it.
Of
but
course.
It turned out to be amazing. Actually, I think it turned out to be even better than than the other installation I've done myself. I think the people, the organizers, just had very professional technicians to help installing artist work. So I was really pleased to see the result of the installation.
That's great. Do you speak German?
I don't. I wish I could speak German. I think that's also one of the reasons why the installation was so precise, because the people there are just professionists. Yeah.
But do you consider translation of your title, for example, of installation, to the different languages? So when you had presentation in Austria, did you translate to German, or you want to keep it in English?
I think we did it in English, but I'm sure they had translation in their space as well.
Okay, so tell me now about the background of this installation. When did you make it? How did you come with the idea? And about the performances and all of this installation around the world. Can you tell a few words about that?
Yes, so the piece is entitled Underground Circuit. It came about during my trip to New York. I was strangely fascinated by the subway structures in New York City, especially the local stops where the platforms are on both sides of the subway. And when I was waiting for the train, I couldn't help but observe, the people on the other side of the platform as if they are actors on stage. So I was really intrigued by this kind of sense of theatricality, but also this kind of everyday ritualistic moment and this rhythm embedded in or like urban life. And so I was interested in filming the people in the subway station. So that was about 3 years ago when I filmed the project. And
so have you done everything by yourself? One camera, a few cameras?
Yes, it was one camera, one tripod.
Okay.
And I did it in the summer, so it was super hot, a super hot week that I would spend almost the entire week in the subway station. And it was actually so tricky because I'm not sure if I should broadcast this. It was kind of not really a good thing to have a tripod in the subway station in New York, because it's a public space and the people are pretty sensitive about about having a tripod and camera there. But I was able to to do most of the filming without any problem. And it's actually one of the most interesting experience I've had filming, in terms of filming projects. And I was able to collect a lot of footage.
How much time did it take you to put everything together? It's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. The editing was a lot. So it was filming was about a whole week, and editing probably took at least like 2 months. Yes.
Huge work.
Yes, and I had a vision before I filmed, so I knew what I wanted, and I really was now looking into like the kind of the individual person. I was more looking at a collective rhythm, so like a pattern of a community, you know. So like there are the kind of the cycle of the kind of the loop of activities that people do every day, and it's a collective rhythm. So for me, you know, I'm more interested in the movement rather than kind of looking into individual person and see what they're doing.
Yes.
So, yes.
It's amazing. And you know, I have a question because I'm a musician about the rhythm that you use there. So how did you choose this rhythm? Did you have a couple of samples, or maybe you were thinking, oh, I want to have this particular rhythm. So how did you choose this?
You mean choose
the rhythm? That's the rhythm, the pulse there, right?
Yeah, I didn't really choose it. It just come out when I after I finished the editing. So I didn't manipulate or adjust the speed of the movement. So it's actually the kind of the everyday rhythm of New York City, I guess. You know, like that just came out of the work on its own, like very naturally. In the way I collaged the piece made it probably interesting because of the fact that everyone's walking into the same direction. So it's almost like a clock. So that is intentional, but the actual speed of the movement of their walking and entering into different spaces, and that is what it is in front of my camera. So it's all kind of random, but collectively there is a rhythm that emerge. And I think that rhythm is essential. It's like an essential rhythm of a place.
Steady pulse, you know, and I have to tell you, my personal feeling, you have a lot of tempos there. There are so many tempos going on, you know, so this is like, it's very polyphonic. And in the center, you have the steady pulse, you know, and it's great because then when in a 20th century music, composers all were looking for this freedom with trying to have the freedom in the different instruments, and they're having the different tempos and always something steady, you know, in their pulse. And on top of that, a lot of layers. You know, it's very musical and very inspiring. I really love that. This is amazing work. Congratulations for that.
Thank you. Yes, I think rhythm has always been super important in my work, not just this one, but also pretty much all my work. I also, because my family, both of my parents are musicians. So I was.
So tell me about your background then. Tell me about your background, about music, about your studies in China, influences, and when did you come to the States? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I came to the States about 10 years ago. And like I mentioned, I came from a musical background. My mom is a classical cello player, and my dad is a music producer. So I studied piano since I was like 4 years old. And I always thought that I would follow my parents' footsteps. But turned out I was more interested in like visual art. And I think I in the beginning of my time in the United States, I was very intrigued by the landscape. And I was in upstate New York, so I was really intrigued by the upstate New York landscape. And
Syracuse, right?
Syracuse, yes. And it's very different than what I've experienced in China. So I was taking a lot of photos of the landscape. I wasn't thinking anything about like creating art specifically, but I was just being an observer, you know, and then trying to kind of document my everyday life, especially, you know, my life in this kind of foreign place. And slowly I realized that I was so interested in holding a camera, and you know, with photo, it's more like a decisive moment. You know, when we take photos of that frozen moment, and I wanted to do something that kind of expand that that moment, you know, over time. It's kind of a natural progression for me to transition into video, because, you know, video for me is almost like a moving photograph. it's things happening over time, and it's like an expanded moment. So that's what I did.
When did you start your first installation?
Yeah, that was about 6 years ago when I was still at the School of the Art of Chicago. Like I said, I transitioned from photo to video while actually I started my grad school. That was about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And during my last year of grad school, I did my first large scale installation, which is a piece that I had a relief panels installed in the gallery space, and I projected the video onto the relief panel to create a sense of physicality and dimensionality in the video work. And that's how kind of my installation, how everything started with my installation.
That's great. Do you have any, can you tell me us the names of maybe inspirations that you find are very important in your work?
I have, a lot of artists that I really liked. But I think in the beginning of my art career, like I mentioned, I was doing a lot of photography, and I was really interested in documentary, like street photographers' work, like Walker Evans, and like the fact that he took a lot of kind of indigenous American architecture and just everyday life, photos of everyday life. And while I moved into video art, obviously I was like, I think most video artists have been inspired by Bill Viola. His work is very spiritual, very reflective, and it's timeless too. And it's something that I strive to be, to create work that touch people in a spiritual level and make people feel. I'm also interested in incorporating performance or performative aspects of people's life into my video. So one of the artists I really like is an Icelandic artist. His name is Ragnar Cartenson. He's a performance artist. He also does a lot of video art. So he would incorporate performers in his video work. And he's also doing multi-channel video installations like I do. So I was just really inspired by his work, specifically one of his installations called The Visitors. And I saw that work about 3 years ago in San Francisco at San MoMA. And it was a 9-channel sound and video installation. And I walked into the room and I immediately, felt overwhelmed by the whole experience. It's a very kind of immersive, but also just all the screens in the room just so beautiful, and it's very painterly, and the work is about kind of this longing and this collectiveness and the energy of collaboration. So there are 8 musicians playing different instruments in upstate New York mansion, and each musician is situated in one room in this big mansion, and they are playing the instrument separately, but also playing a song together. So the each of the musicians was filmed separately in the room, but collectively they are playing the same song again and again together. So the piece really kind of touched me, mainly because of the fact that this energy of collaboration that came out of the project, and also the fact that he's talking about universal emotions, the longing, the loneliness, but also the joy of working with each other. So all those kind of core of emotions that we experience as human came through the work. So that's one of the work that's one of my favorite installation I've seen.
That's great, but you are very actually influenced by music, and music is also very important in your work, as I hear, So I also want to ask you, so if they have some other connection, play the piano, because we have this team of the Chopin and Friends Festival, and we have a lot of Chopin also music. So tell me if you like Chopin, And have you maybe played his music as a child, because you played piano?
Yes, I mean, yeah, I mean, I love Chopin's music. I definitely had played his music when I was a child. I played piano from 4 years old to maybe like until up to middle school, and I kind of just sort of give it up, and which I actually regretted, because I thought I should have kept doing it. But I think just piano itself, like the sound of piano, is just one of the most beautiful instruments that I think that exists in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just love watching people playing and love hearing piano sound every day, because my parents are creating music all the time, and we have like 3 pianos in our house, so that's pretty cool.
Yes, but what do you think as a visual artist about electronic music, electronic art? So do you find inspiration? Do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I think all art forms, are great, and I think especially right now with contemporary art, there is a hybrid of, of different art forms. I think, I personally, I like more meditative, quiet music, and I also enjoying people creating music with non-traditional tools, with maybe not instrument, but maybe something that's like everyday objects, or synthesizer. I think music and sound, they are all interconnected. It's like what we hear every day can be a form of music too, and I think it's up to people's interpretation and people's sensitivities, to perceive the world and perceive the music that exists in the world.
That's great. And tell me also about your future projects. What are you working on? If you like to, some artists I know don't like to talk about their future
Yes, yeah.
project, but if you don't mind, maybe you can tell us about the future.
Yes, I love to talk about it, and it's actually okay. I think something I'm really proud, that it's something I've been it's something that's really meaningful to me. So I think I mentioned to you that since the quarantine started, I picked up a few projects, and one of those projects is a collaboration between me and a choreographer and 2 dancers. So I was interested in incorporating contemporary dance in my work, that is to explore the intersection between performance and video art. And I think this collaboration came about kind of my longing for making a connection and for a sense of community during quarantine, because everyone's so isolated. And so the 4 of us started this collaboration, and we did a lot of rehearsals on Zoom. So the project is called Love Letters. It's a 4-part video series, portrays a relationship between a couple, and the piece is set against different sites in Chicago. So we filmed the first episode a couple months ago in the South Side Chicago neighborhood, and we had the 2 dancers stood on 2 opposite sides of the Chicago River, making a dialogue using their body gestures. So it's almost like a sign language, that they had this back and forth conversation, but only with their gestures. So the piece kind of talked about, obviously inspired by the quarantine, and talked about this longing to make a connection, and this blossoming relationship between the couple. So for the next episode, the fall episode, we're actually going to film it tomorrow in the North Branch of the Chicago River, and the dancers are gonna step into the river. It's a shallow branch, so dancers are going to step into the river and moving towards each other. So making an attempt to be closer to each other, but they can't reach each other because they're still separated.
How many dancers, by the way? How many dancers there will be?
Two dancers, yes.
Two dancers, okay.
Yes.
Love letters, okay.
Yes, and so for the third episode, we're gonna film it in a snowfall in the winter, and it's gonna be in a parking lot in the city. I'm gonna do a bird's eye view of the dancers creating a duet on a snowy ground. So I'm pretty excited by the fact that we are able to collaborate at such a special time, but also make something that is inspired by the current quarantine life that
situation.
Yes, yeah.
Sounds amazing, but what do you think also about the music there? Do you consider that it will be quiet, silent, or you thinking about something about music?
Yes, so I think we'll have a sound, actually like probably environmental sound, to accompany the piece. For the final piece, for final spring episode of the piece, it's actually we're gonna have a musical score that accompany the video, and the video is gonna be filmed in the studio, and it's gonna be a very kind of active interaction between the two dancers, and I'm hoping to kind of have the music to be really rhythmic and to correspond to the movement of the dancers. And that piece is gonna be part of a public projection program in a large building in downtown Chicago. It's gonna be screened in 2022 and being projected onto the facade of the building as part of the Chicago Year of Dance.
That's wonderful. Sounds amazing.
Thank you.
So looking forward for this. It will be also streamed live or not?
Yes, we hope to by 2022 we hope everything's back to normal, and we'll definitely have it should be streamed live on Facebook, and we also have a live performance component for the opening of the piece.
That's great, but also, so have you danced? Do you like ballets, or do you like dancing?
I love dancing. I'm very bad about. I'm not good. But I just love, the movement and the rhythm. I think, dancing and the music and visual art are interconnected. There's a lot of elements you see in dancing and you see in music and you see in kind of video too, because, the rhythm and the pattern of movement, and the fact about collaboration, I think, music is a form of collaboration too. So yeah, I can totally, I totally see a lot of connections, and I love all different art forms. I just wish I could be like I could be master in music and in dance and in video art, but I guess I have to choose one that I'm best at.
Like opera, thinking about all the things together, about dancers, about music, about decoration, about visualization,
Yeah.
Synthesis of art.
Yes, I think like in the future, my goal is to be more hybrid in terms of my work. Maybe I can put something on stage. Maybe it's a installation that's set up in the stage and with audience and with orchestra and with some of my like video projection mapping type of stage setting, and also with live performers. And that would be perfect. I will combine all art forms into one piece.
Yes, that's great. So I wish you good luck with that, and looking forward for everything.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. We're looking forward so much for your presentation, for your installation. At the end of this our conversation, I would like to play a little loop this undercut circuit so you can see what we were actually talking about.
Thank you so much.
And it's going to be displayed November 6th at the beginning of the Chopin and Friends Festival here in New York at the Polish Consulate. And it's great. So again, thank you very much. And I hope everyone, all the audience also will love it because it's really unique. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. So it's coming up soon. I'm excited.
So thank you very much for your talk and for your time. So stay healthy in Chicago.
Thank you. You too. See you soon.
So bye. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.